guys, and welcome to another online hangout. I'm so excited this week because we have given you what you have asked for. We have our Start Ambassador, ISAG Millionaire, 10-star Platinum, 9-star Crystal Executive on the line with us. Jackson Parr, how are you doing?
I am incredible. Thank you, Maddie, for the warm welcome. I appreciate it.
I am so excited that you're hanging out with me again tonight. This is your second time. I think you were one of my first people on this, right?
I christened it with you. I broke that champagne bottle with you.
We created it together. There you go. So let's get into it. A lot of people were requesting that you cover things like connecting, duplicating, retention, support, but we wanted to hone in on one specific skill that would help with all these topics. And I know that you have an amazing recipe for connecting, in other words, your cake recipe for the why. So can you talk me through
Yes.
the reasoning behind why you teach the recipe?
Yes, I can, Maddie. So why I kind of got this cake recipe is, so for those that kind of don't know my journey, I've been doing ISA now for about 3.5 years, and I haven't sat down and checked, but I probably enrolled close to 500 people, which is a lot, especially for someone that didn't really like people or wasn't very good at talking to people. And so once I eventually got that going and figured out I did kind of have these skills to talk to a lot of people and help a lot of people get started, I started going to these events and, you chat with everyone. And I started to realize that I'd meet a lot of other people that were enrolling a lot of people, but their business wasn't looking so crash hot. And they were like living off these PIBs, which nothing wrong with that, awesome money, but they didn't have like this true residual income where if they stopped and went on holiday for a month, it'd keep growing. And I didn't want that. And so then I was sitting at a Super Saturday here in Brisbane, and the amazing Jen Patch was talking about how network marketing, everything needs to be duplicatable and everything almost needs to be like a cake recipe. And her point was, if something is like in the form of a cake recipe, it doesn't matter how bad or good someone is, you can hand them a cake recipe and they can have success. And it really resonated with me because I just realized then and there that, okay, well, I'm having success talking to people, but if I can't translate that and teach it to my team and give them something where maybe they don't have confidence to speak with someone or they don't have the skill set, whatever, if I can't hand them something to allow them to be successful, they're not going to be kind of successful. So that's why I called it my cake recipe. It's the cake recipe for the why. So I kind of put in what I was doing and having so much success in, and I put in, called it the cake recipe for the why after Jen. And it's just 7 questions where literally if you go through it step by step, just follow the recipe, just like a cake, crack 2 eggs, make 1 cup of milk, eat for 30 seconds, whatever it is, you can create a cake. You follow this, you can get to someone's why. And of course, as we know in ISA, the why is everything. The why makes them buy, stuff like that. And then on the flip side, when people come into my team, I'm able to like show them right away, hey, I'm going to be able to teach you exactly what to do. People have so much more confidence, and they let go of all these fears in their head that they have where, oh, what am I going to do? What am I going to say? So that's why I've got a cake recipe. My disclaimer is there's 1,000 different ways to talk to people. So my way isn't the greatest, but it definitely works for me. If you're doing something that's working for you, keep doing it. But if you're struggling with success there, or maybe you're doing something really well, but none of your team can kind of duplicate what you're doing, this might be for you.
Awesome. So let's talk through the 7 steps to your recipe.
All right, get our aprons on. All right. So can they see this?
Yeah.
All right, so first one's there. Can I ask you a few questions, see if I can help? So the method to the madness with this is I love I'm a big fan of giving people an out. So not coming across so aggressive and being like real laid back and casual with it. So asking, putting it even this way, can I see if I can help? Instantly, subconsciously for them, peeking around the corner, they're going to feel like, well, okay, I'll chat to Jackson because it might not be for me, or he might not be able to help me. People will bring their walls down automatically if you kind of phrase it like this. And the other thing with this question is, this is an awesome question because I know a lot of the time people kind of come straight in for the price, where they'll just inbox you or ask you straight away, all right, Jackson, how much is it? Or, all right, Jackson, what's it going to cost me? Blah, blah, blah. And so when I'm able to say, look, Maddie, there's lots of different packs with different prices depending on people's goals and whatnot. Can I ask you a few questions to see if I can help and if one of these would fit you? They immediately say, oh, yeah, that makes sense kind of thing. And we're straight into it. So that's the first question.
All right.
All right. Question 2, very simple. What is your ultimate goal? We kind of say this, because we're getting right to the point. We're here for a good time, not a long time. So we want to cut right through the BS and find out what their ultimate goal is. Another reason why this is so simple, but we need to ask it, is so many times it's really easy to assume what someone wants. And I've had it happen on countless times where I've assumed that weight loss is what they want or what's most important to them. But once I ask this, they'll say things like, man, I'd give my left leg to sleep through the night, or I'd give my right leg to not have to have a nana nap, or to have energy to play with my kids. And weight is important to them, but it's not on their pecking order. So once I ask this, I know how to kind of talk to them about it. So that's question 2. So what are your 2 to 3 areas? So the most common thing you find when you ask someone what their goal is, they'll say, the most common thing is they'll say, oh, I want to lose weight and tone up, or I want to get fit and healthy, or whatever. If they say something like that, we want to get it specific as possible. So if someone says, unfortunately, most people need to lose weight. So most people say, I want to lose weight. So I just also ask, all right, Maddie, how much, if you can put it into a number for me, how many kilos are you wanting to lose? And they'll say whatever it is. So let's say it's 10. So I would ask then, so if Maddie said, I want to lose 10 kilos, I'd ask Maddie, what are 2 to 3 areas on your body where you'd want these 10 kilos to come from? And
my bum.
Your bum. Maddie's just got one. So I've got the plus and negative there for the next question, but it's a reminder that when we phrase these questions, it's not to say, Maddie, what do you love most about your legs? It's going to be, what about your bum and legs are you most uncomfortable with? So what are your 2 to 3 areas where you want to lose your 10 kilos from? And they'd say legs, stomach, and arms, for example. So then we go to the next one. And why? So imagine these questions are like an onion. So to get to the big juicy middle bit, we couldn't just go straight there. We have to take these step by step because we're slowly peeling back the onion, and it's all the build up has been to here. So when I'm able to ask, all right, Maddie, so what makes you uncomfortable about your arms, stomach, and legs, or whatever it was? That question right there is why Maddie's going to eventually sign up with me. It's not the 10 kilos, it's why. And so asking that, I'm, I guess, forcing Maddie to instantly think about what she doesn't like about her legs, stomach, and thighs, I think it was. So I've kind of taken Maddie to that place, very safe place. And this is where I guess the magic happens. This is the real reason. So why it's important to get to the why, it's all about logic versus emotion. And any objection that anyone has, it's going to be logic. So most people that I enroll, they don't have any idea it shakes or it's got cleanse or anything like that, because my personal belief is they don't, can I swear on these? I won't swear. But they don't care. They don't care that it shakes or cleanse. It's irrelevant. What they really care about is how she feels about her stomach, her legs and her thighs. So asking that, now that we're at this place in the conversation, I mean, they could say anything, but this is going to be the real reason why Maddie is very unhappy with herself. It's not the 10 kilos as a number, it's how she feels about it. So my other advice with this question is, before we jump to that, is at first you're going to feel uncomfortable kind of having this conversation, but just trust that, like, we're not doing it to be mean or to pick on them or to make them feel insecure or anything nasty like that. We're simply just having a genuine conversation and asking these questions that no one else is asking them, and they'll be truly thankful to you once you have this kind of genuine, real, deep conversation about what's really going on in their life. So ask that. And then the fifth question is, beautiful, how long have you felt this way? So we're asking this question because it's irrelevant what they say, but unfortunately most people are going to say a year, 6 months, 10 years, 5 years. Like, it's going to be varied. There's no wrong answer, but we're asking this question because when someone says they've been feeling, they're going to say something like, I'm so embarrassed about how my legs look that I don't go out anymore. And then when they say they've been feeling this way for 5 years, it's going to be insane for them to say no to this. If they've been feeling this way for 5 years, yet I'm showing you a way to solve that with a 30-day money-back guarantee, it's a no-brainer to do it. So that's why we ask that question, to make them realize, because a lot of people are kind of in denial and they know it's been that way for 5 years, but it takes someone actually asking them that for them to be like, far out, I've been feeling this way for 5 years, for a year, for 6 months. Anything's a long time to kind of not be happy. So that's why we're asking that. In case there is an objection, we can kind of have that in our back pocket, that to kind of bring that up. Like, Maddie, I know you were saying you've been feeling this way for a year. Are you sure you don't want to do something about it now? Kind of stuff. So that's why we ask that question. The next one is, do you have something coming up to work towards? So this is awesome because a lot of people, there's a reason why people keep saying, oh, I'll start next week, I'll start next week, I'll start Monday, blah, blah, blah. And they just live a life of that because they never really anchor down to a set kind of target. And so there's never any urgency. So when we ask them, Maddie, do you have something coming up to work towards, maybe a birthday, a holiday, a family reunion, a wedding, etc. And they kind of say, oh, I've got, what are we now? We're March. I've got my sister's getting married in May. Like, it all of a sudden creates a realistic goal and something to actually think about. And now they're thinking, well, far out, I've got to get started now. I can't keep living this life of, I'll start tomorrow, I'll start next week, blah, blah, blah. If someone doesn't have an event coming up, what I love to do, I just ask them, awesome. So if Maddie, you said, oh, there's nothing coming up, which they rarely do, but if Maddie did say that, I'd say, awesome. Do you want to set a long goal or a short goal? If they say long, awesome, we have a 16-week challenge. Funny that. If they say short, awesome, we have a 30-day program. So there's no right or wrong. I let them tell me, because some people like to set really long goals. Some people like to set really short, sharp ones. So you just ask them, and I lead with either the length of our packs or the length of our IsaBody challenge, depending on what they say. But most people will have something coming up. I feel like I'm a magician and you're my secretary, my assistant. So question 7, how would you feel if positive? How would you feel if negative? So what this means is, so let's say I had this conversation with Maddie. I would say something like, Maddie, how would you feel if come your sister's wedding in whatever the date it was, you've lost these 10 kilos, you're so confident in yourself, you're no longer worried about your legs, and you're wearing a short skirt at this wedding. How would you feel? And I ask them that, and they just go, oh my God, and they just ramble on because they never really thought about it, because I never thought it was possible. And and they're feeling awesome, right? And I'm like, great, 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 great. And then I ask the same question, but I guess the negative side of it. So, Maddie, how would you feel if, you know, we didn't really get started and it's your sister's wedding? You haven't been able to release that 10 kilos and you're still really self-confident, self-conscious about, you know, those legs and those arms of yours, and you're always looking around where the camera is because, you know, you don't want to get a photo taken of you. How would you feel? And I ask him opposite to that, of the reality, unfortunately, of what their future will probably look like if they kind of don't get started. Because if you haven't lost it in a year or 5 years or 2 years or 8 months or whatever they've told you, it's very unlikely they're all of a sudden. It's, what's that saying? Things don't change unless you make a change. So that's unfortunately probably going to be the reality. So I just ask them that. But the same thing, you don't ask it to pick on them or to rub it in their face. You just genuinely ask them. And of course, the answer is going to be, well, I wouldn't like that, or far out, that's the last thing I want, blah, blah, blah. And then, could you just move the paper up and to the right? Yeah, cool. And then, so once you ask those two, it's like a roller coaster. So we ask them the positive, then we take them down to the negative, but we take them back, definitely take them back up to that positive. And it's like, well, Maddie, it doesn't matter about that situation because I'm so glad we're having this chat and I'm so excited to help you. From there, you'll find your own kind of way to top it off. But from there, you can be like, well, if I sent, you know, the If I Would You approach is awesome. You know, if I was to send you a video to explain how this all works, would you be open to taking a look at it? They're going to yell at you to send it. But to be honest, a lot of people just say, well, you know, you hear those stories where they just give you their credit card. Like, that's what happens to me after you do this. And we haven't spoken about shakes or undernatured protein or botanicals or all that stuff. All that stuff is amazing, but no one cares. In my experience, all they care about is their why. And once you talk that, yeah, the rest is history. Anything I missed or you want me to shed light on, Maddie?
No, I love how you've simplified that, and it's pretty easy to utilize, right? So what would be the difference if you were talking to someone that was looking for the financial solution?
Yeah, so we could go through it, it'll be very quickly, but you can do this exact same thing with people that want the business, because as we know, or hopefully we're learning, it's not about the 10 kilos, it's how that extra 10 kilos makes them feel. It's not about the money, it's why they need the money. So if someone wants $500 a week, it's not about the $500, but it's about what having extra $500 would allow them to do, or allow them not to stress about whatever. So you can do this exact same thing with someone that wants the business or the opportunity. So we'll fly through it quickly. So if Maddie holds it up. So same thing, can I ask you a few questions, see if this is for you, if it's a fit for you, if I can help. Easy. Question 2. So same thing, what is your ultimate goal? So if Maddie's like, you know, I want to do this as a business, I'll be like, awesome, what's your ultimate goal? How much money do you ultimately want to be earning, you know, each week or each month or whatever it is? So I'd ask them that, and they'd say, what would someone say? $500 a week. That's their goal. I'd say, awesome. Where are 2 to 3 areas in your life, Maddie, where an extra $500 a week would really have an impact on you and your family? And so the same thing, we're getting them not to focus about the money, because it's not about the money, it's about these areas. So they'll say, oh man, if I didn't have to stress every time I went to the letterbox, or I'd be able to put my son in that private school he deserves, but we can't afford it. As you can imagine, there'll be a million different things, but that's how we use that question there. Next one, Maddie. Yeah, what 2 to 3 areas, and then why? And then so it's just going even further. So if they said, oh, and we'd be able to put our child into a different school, it's like, Why? Why is that so important to you? Why does little Ricky, um, why does little Ricky need to go to this private school? Or if they say, oh, if I was doing an extra $500 a week, I'd take my family on more holidays. It's awesome. Why do you want to take your family more holidays? What would it mean to your kids? How's it affecting your family that you haven't gone on a holiday in the last 2 years? So same thing, it's not about the money. We're not talking about $500. We're talking about what impact that money is having. So next one, Maddie. How long have you felt this way? So same thing, how long have you Maddie, how long have you been kind of living this life where you haven't been on a holiday for? So my perfect example, real life example is Mark and Belle came to me wanting to do the business, and I never got them to a financial goal. Once I found out that they haven't gone on a holiday together in 7 years, that's all I needed. And it was just talking about, that was their motivation. There was never a money figure. It was, we're going to get you to a point where you can have a holiday. And that meant so much more emotionally to them than just dollar figures. So how long have you felt that way? It's just whatever they've said, it's asking them that. Or another way you can do this is, how long have you been feeling like you're living paycheck to paycheck? Like that's a very easy question to ask. And unfortunately, most people aren't going to say, oh, just the last month. They're going to say, all my life, or they're going to say the last 10 years or 5 years, or it's going to be a very long time. And same thing, we're asking this question. So once we're talking about the business and what it's going to take and what it's going to take to come to super sailing and whatever, we can kind of have this in our back pocket that you've been feeling like this way for 10 years. We need to make a change. So that's why that's there. Do you have something coming up? So same thing, whatever they've said, depends what they've said, obviously, but it's setting a realistic goal. Because a lot of people, everyone doesn't have money up there, but no one has the urgency to really do something about it because no one's asking questions like this. So once you get them to set their goal on something, so if it's little Ricky, for example, it's, well, when's school enrollment start? If it's the holiday, it's like, well, when would you love to go on holiday for the first time? If it's a bill goal, it's all right, when do the bills come? Let's set a realistic goal where when that bill comes in 3 months from now, you can pay for it with your ISA wallet, stuff like that. Next one, Maddie. And then it's the same thing. So how would you feel if positive? So how would you feel if we can use little Ricky? Because I'm fond of the little guy.
We love little Ricky.
Yeah. So it'd be, how would you feel if positive? So we show them what their future would be if they kind of took charge and took action. So how would you feel if, you're able to next year put little Ricky into that school? How would you feel if, this Christmas, you and your family are able to take that trip to Disneyland that you've always wanted? Painting that picture and asking them, how would that feel? And then obviously the next thing is the negative. So how would you feel if, even though you want to put little Ricky in that private school, how would you feel if come next year, you have to have that same conversation with him that he's got to stay in that school that he hates? Or how would you feel if come Christmas, again, you and the kids, you guys don't go anywhere and you're just hanging at home again while they're seeing all their friends off on holiday? So you're painting the kind of the opposite side, and then we go into the same thing. We're high, then we take them low, but then we're back high again. Maddie, I'm so glad we're having this chat because that's not the reality. Your goal is my goal. I'm so excited to show you our compensation plan and show you how you're going to be able to earn that XYZ that we just talked about and make that a reality for you.
Love it. So, any other advice?
Any other advice on?
Everything.
Everything. Life. Well.
Life.
Well, grab a hot chocolate and pull up a seat. So I think we were talking about this earlier today, Maddie. One thing I did want to share, because this is all about enrollment, right? And that's the lifeblood to your business. one thing I did want to share, and I've built my empire off this cake recipe. Like, it's that powerful. If you get out of your own way, don't try and reinvent the wheel. I know it could be better, but that's not the point of it. The point of it is so simple, anyone can do it. But I want to share this story because it was such an awesome highlight for me, I guess is the right word. I was sitting, we had the Millionaire Platinum dinner at Celebration a few weeks ago, and I was sitting next to Jim, Kathy, and Eric on the Couva table. Don't know how I got there. I think I got lost, but we're chatting, and I shared to him. It came up in conversation. I enrolled 7 people that week during Celebration week, and there was chaos. And obviously, we're spending most of our days in the crowd. And all at once, they all said the exact same reply to me, and I just loved it because most people don't get this just yet. They all said, like almost in unison, they said, "Far out, Jackson, you must have been working hard for months to have that happen this week." And it just like hit me square in the eyes. You always hear that the Couvers get network marketing, but when they said that, I knew they got this, because most people, if you told them I signed up 7 people this week, their question or their response would be, "Oh, what did you do this week?" And although it's a very common question, I guess, if you're asking that question, you don't truly understand the funnel and network marketing. Because to enroll 7 people that week, it's not what I did that week, it's what I've literally done the last month, 3 months, 6 months, year, that build up, and it kind of just exploded in that week. So same thing with this cake recipe. It's not about going and doing it for a week, this week, and then expecting things. If you constantly are doing this, you will eventually putting enough people in the funnel and then speaking to all these people in your funnel just like this, you will start to have these massive weeks, which turn into massive months, which turn into massive years. And it's not what you did in that year, it's what you've done in the years leading up to it. So that was my little caveat I wanted to throw in on enrolling.
Golden nuggets for everybody. Thank you. Thanks, Jackson. Once again, you have blown this up. I'm sure everyone will love it. And I look forward to seeing you again on online Hangouts. Thank you for hanging out with me.
Do I get like a loyalty card? Like
referral.
9? Yeah.
All right. Thanks, Jacko.
Easy.
Bye.